Hello there, everyone. Welcome to my craft room. My name is Dara Walter of Pickled Peppers Creative Cafe at pickledpepperscreative.com. Today is Thursday, July 27th, 2023, and Thursday is Crafty Day here at Pickled Peppers Creative Cafe in my craft room. So, welcome. Come on into my craft room. Come on in. How are you on this last Thursday of July? Hopefully you're having a wonderful day and a wonderful week. It is always my hope for you. And I hope that you're prepared to do a really quick, simple, and fun card. Kind of rustic. I'll tell you about it in just a minute here. Hi, Julie. Hi, Anna. I see that people are popping on now and finding me in their news feed. Hello, how are you? Welcome. Thank you so much for being here. How are you today? Are you guys having a good week? I am having a good week, and I hope that you're having a good week too. It is kind of warm. I'm in Lansing, Michigan. And the weather is kind of warm. I have been, I'm not sure if you are new to following me, but I am kind of slow to turn on the central air. Not this week. I'll have you know that I cranked it up. So if that makes you proud, yay for me. And I hope you're staying cool where you are as well. So welcome. I see Beth is watching. Hi, Beth. Welcome. Thank you so much for being here. So we don't really have a whole lot to chat about today. We have bonus days. So bonus days are almost over. You guys, today is the 27th of July. And we have 28, 29, 30, 31, 4 days left. So if you don't know about bonus days, that's our only announcement for today. But if you don't know about bonus days, if you shop during the month of July, you can earn $5 coupons for every $50 that you spend, and you can redeem those coupons for next month. So, Beth says, oh, you're watching from the prairie in Marshall. Yes, you're jelly. I'm jelly. How about that? Have a great crop. I'm excited for you. I hope that you get lots of work done. And for the rest of us, we're going to make a really cute card tonight. It is really simple, really straightforward. I think I might have a tip or two to share with you that you may or may not know. And hopefully, if you do know, it's a reminder, or they're reminders for you. And if you don't know, you've learned something new. So let's go ahead and turn our cameras down. I will continue to chat a little bit. Here we go. I don't want to make you guys dizzy. Thank you so much for being here. Don't forget, while you are watching, if you want to chat with me, please do. I love chatting with you. I do like to give a reminder, however, that if I miss your comment, I will go back after the live. Chat with you after the live. I lost my picture on my... We'll get it on in a minute. I'm fidgeting with my other device. I like sharing with you while we're creating. I need to make sure that my hands are in... You're actually seeing. Okay, there we go. We're back up. Sorry about that. Okay, so I was going to say, while we're creating, if I miss your comment, make sure to go ahead and chat with me. Leave your comments after the live. I'll definitely go back and answer them. And I think in terms of announcements, that's it. Don't forget to give a thumbs up if you like what we're creating tonight, or a heart or whatever you want to give. I would be more than grateful if you would. So thank you for that. And let's get started. All right, so let's talk about the supplies that we're going to be using tonight. And I was going to show you quickly in the catalog as well. I have some things prepared ahead of time, but we're going to be doing most of it on camera since the card is quick. We will have time to do a little bit of coloring. So do you guys remember this? This is the apple harvest. Actually, if you know me, you know also that I am enamored with food with food stamps, and so this is one that I really love. It's called Apple Harvest, and you see the different apples there. So we're going to be using the Apple Harvest tonight. You can find it in the annual catalog on page 38. Let's turn this around. Am I facing the right way for you guys? Oh yeah, I can see, I can read the words. Okay, so I think we're good. Sometimes I forget to flip the camera around. Thank you so much for the hearts and the thumbs up. Thank you guys. I appreciate you greatly. Thank you so much. So page 38 is where you can find it. It is a cling stamp set, which means it's red rubber. I'll show you what the stamps look like in a minute. And it's only $24. So very, very cute. And we'll talk about the sentiments. And then for designer series paper, I am using the in colors. We are gonna, let me tell you, I'm gonna use wild wheat. So wild wheat is not a favorite of my my team, the Pickled Pepper Stamper, or Pickled Perfect Stampers, and my customers, but I like it. And you know what? We are moving towards fall, and it's July, but we have new holiday product coming out that demonstrators will have access to order in a couple of days. On August 2nd, we're able to order it. And so we're kind of moving, we're shifting some towards that fall stuff. So I think that I'm hoping that by using it, if you're not the biggest fan of it, hi Nympha, welcome. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for watching. How are you? I hope you're having a great week. Thank you for watching. We're going to make a quick and easy card tonight, so I'm excited that you're here. But I hope that by using it, I will give you some inspiration and a reason to love it if you don't. And you know what? I'm going to be perfectly honest with you. When I first saw it, I probably felt the same way. I wasn't sure. It wasn't that I didn't like it. I just wasn't sure. I tend to gravitate towards super bright colors, and but everything that's not fitting for everything. So you can't imagine a pretty peacock apple, can you? Of course I could in my world. Everything could be pretty peacock. But so yeah, so I hope that I give you a reason to explore the wild wheat. So we have here wild wheat cardstock for our card base, and we'll cut it in a minute. And then we have, like I said, the in color. Did I tell you what page that was on? I apologize. Let me grab this back. I like to tell you in case you want to recreate what I'm making. Exactly, just to make it a little easier, you can refer back to the video for the instructions and for where to find the product. So this is on page 133. It is it is the designer series paper at the top here. I think it's gorgeous. I like when the patterns, I'm kind of a fan of the same color. I like bursts of color, but when the patterns are different patterns on opposite sides of the same paper, I love that too. Because you can use both sides of the designer series paper on the same card. So that's why I'm a fan of that. All right, so we have, of course, the wild wheat that you guys are going to maybe not love, but you're gonna like a whole lot better tonight. And we'll cut this down. We're going to cut it down to 3 3/4 inch by 5. We have a basic white mat that is 5 1/4 by 4. We have Granny, or no, this is Old Olive. When have you seen Old Olive? We get to use Old Olive today, you guys. Love the Old Olive. Aren't these nice fall colors? Very nice. And then we have a 3 1/4 by 3 1/2 piece of basic white. By the way, our basic white comes in 2 thicknesses. I like to just let people know that. It comes in a regular thickness, which is what we're using, and it also comes for thick, or in thick. And the reason the thick is good is when you're using basic white for your card base. You want your card bases to be sturdy and not flimsy. So if you're making cards and you're ordering white cardstock, if you want to use that for your card base, make sure that you're getting the thick basic white. All right, and then I use the basic white, the regular for everything else. So we have a couple of mats here that are also Old Olive. They are 3/4 inch by 3. I have an extra 1 or 2 just in case. I'm going to show you a little tip that you may or may not know. So I have extras just to make sure that it goes well, and if it doesn't, we can revert to them. Nympha, Old Olive, oldie but goodie. You have been around for a while. You are absolutely right. Absolutely right. It is an oldie but goodie, and I hope it never ever ever goes away. And then we're going to use a little bit of the In Color jute trim. So you guessed it, we're going to use the wild wheat. We're using wild wheat and Old Olive. I think they're brilliant together, and we're going to use some of that twine, so we have that as well. And then we're going to do just a little bit of coloring, and I have another tip for you with that as well. Thank you guys. I have, of course, Old Olive. We have to have that, and I think we're gonna color our apple in. I considered like Granny Apple Green or one of the lighter greens, but we're gonna go ahead with red. We're gonna use the Sweet Sorbet. I thought it was just a little less, it's not as deep as like Cherry Cobbler or something. So we're gonna use those, and let's get started. Let me show you how simple this card is and how very fall it is. So if you're anything like me, are you crafters? Are there any crafters? Does anybody do craft shows? Beth does craft shows. I know that she does. Oh, Nympha, you've been stamping for 23 years. Yay, you. Yay. Just that's about how long I've been stamping, so you have lots of experience. Very, very good. You're serious then. You are a serious crafter. But does anybody do craft shows? Oh, Julie, you do craft shows. Yes. Do you sell cards at your craft shows? I know that if you are a crafter, so it's July, and the reason that I bring it up is because this time of year you are really, really thinking about the products that you're going to put in your booth. And of course we're moving towards fall, so you're going to be using fall projects. So if you are like Julie, and if you are like Nympha, and if you are like Beth, and you do craft shows, and I am sure that you guys put paper crafted products in your booth, then this is a good reason to like wild wheat. All right, I'm hamming up wild wheat for you. All right, so to begin with, we have a piece of cardstock that is 8 1/2 by 11. So this is our standard paper size, and if you're making A4 cards, you can get 2 of them from 1 sheet of paper, and we're going to do exactly that. We are going to actually cut lengthwise the long way, and before I cut it, I already know that I'm going to use both sides of the cardstock for the same card. So I'm going to make 2 of them because it just makes sense, right? So what I'm going to do, let's scooch this over a little bit. Are you able to see the top of the trimmer there? I'm going to score it halfway at 5 1/4. This way I only have to score one time. So I'm gonna drag my score tool across, and then I'm going to turn in the opposite direction. Let's do it this way. And I'm going to cut at 4 1/4, and then my 2 card bases are ready. So it's a little bit of a cheat. It just allows one less pass through the trimmer. Okay, so we'll put one aside for later. We're going to use one for now, and then while I'm watching TV, I'll probably complete the other card. So we're going to set this aside. The other thing that we're going to do is cut our designer series paper, and let me tell you, there's no magic place that you have to cut this. We're going to make a diagonal cut. But I'm going to give you a rough dimension or area place to cut, I guess. You don't have to be exactly on that spot. It's not going to alter your card, and you'll see what I mean in a minute. All right, so remember I said we're going to cut this card base down to 3 3/4 inch by 5. So I'm going to go ahead and line this up at 3 3/4 inch. And there's kind of a top and a bottom to this, but not really. Or I'm sorry, maybe a direction. If you look at it, everything is going in horizontal. All the dots are going in horizontal pattern. And if that matters to you, it doesn't to me, but you might want to be careful for that if you're using this designer series paper. And then we're going to cut it at 5 inches. So we have 3 3/4 by 5. Now we're going to make a diagonal cut here, and I am going to flip it over because I'm going to use my pencil to give you a visual, just so that you can kind of see where we're going here. On the left edge, so this is going to be my top. If you have directional paper, it's really going to matter for you. For me, not so much. However, the angle that I want it cut, it's going to matter. So I'm going to denote this as the top portion of my mat, okay? And on the left edge, I am going to just put a little tick mark at about 1 1/4. Maybe 1 inch. Let's do 1 inch at the 1 inch mark. And then I'm going to swing it around, and I'm going to line it up at 2 1/4 inch. So kind of right here, I want this to be 2 1/4 inch, roughly. It doesn't really matter. It doesn't have to be exact. And we're going to cut. We're going to place that little tick mark that's at the 1 inch on the top of the channel here we have in our trimmer, and then the 2 1/4 inch mark we'll put at the bottom. Okay, do you see that? And there's no magic to it. We're just gonna cut it. Okay, that's gonna give us a diagonal cut. There we go. Okay, thank you for the hearts or the thumbs up. All right, so then that's the most difficult part of this whole card. Other than that, it is easy peasy. So why don't we go ahead and, I was going to start assembling, but we're not going to assemble. Let's do our stamping and coloring first. So we'll put this aside. We'll do a little bit of stamping and some coloring, and then we'll do some assembly. All right. So let's look at the stamp set again. The stamps that we're going to be using, can you see that little interesting, I don't even know what it is, just a like an abstract piece of pattern? We're going to be using that. I'm going to show you an idea of how to use that. Thank you. Hi, Polly. Hello. Thank you for being here. Excited that you're here watching. I hope you're having a fantastic week. So we're going to use that, and then we're going to use the solid apple, And then we're going to use a sentiment. That's all. So when I promised you easy, I meant it. Okay. So let's start with our apple, which is going to go right in the center. Oh, I was going to show you when I said cling, these are red rubber stamps. So they're red rubber and you adhere them to your clear blocks. Okay, so I've already done that. So let's grab the apple. We're using 2 colors of ink tonight. We're using black memento. If you don't have it, it is a must-have. I recommend it highly. And then, of course, we're using the wild wheat because it matches what we're doing, right? So let's go ahead and ink up our apple, and then we're going to put it, I think we're going to put it smack dab in the middle of our mat. So remember, this basic white mat is 3 1/4 by 3 1/2. So this is the 3 1/4 inch side, and then the 3 1/2. So this is top bottom, okay, and then side to side, just so that you understand what we have going on here. And we're going to put our apple in the middle. There's already cushion because we're using the cling red rubber, so don't press too hard. There we go. Oh, it's cute, cute, cute because it's fruit. Hey, I made a rhyme. It's cute because it's fruit. It's just cute because I like food. Okay. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and bring in that shape that we talked about. Boy, I'm getting a lot of light here, aren't I? Sorry about that, guys. I tried moving my ring lamp to alleviate some of the glare, and I think I might have made it worse. Okay. So we're going to take this shape with the wild wheat, and we're going to stamp around our apple. You want to stamp close to the apple, but you don't want to stamp inside of the apple, because then, I mean, our apple would look weird, and we don't want to do that. So let me show you what I'm going to do. And I'm just going to kind of randomly go near the apple. So I'm going to stamp at the bottom here. So you see that. It's really close. I think I grabbed the edge of the apple a little bit, but you know what? Who's going to know that? No one's going to see it. And then I'm going to do it again over just a little bit. And then I'm going to turn it around. And I don't want to go over my leaf, but I'm going to go close to it. You could stamp this off too. If this is a little dark for you, it will dry a little lighter. And then I'm going to put one here. And then, which side? Do I like that fat side? I kind of like the fat. I like that waffly looking look. Let's do it here. Yeah, it looks like a waffle. Doesn't it look like a waffle? Okay, let me show you what we did. I'm going to cover this up because I think we're done with the wild wheat. And here's what we have so far. So that's a little different, isn't it? But it's a way that you could use that little waffle because, you know, there's no waffles in this stamp set. They're apples. All right. So the next thing we're going to do is go ahead and bring in our Stampin' Blends. This will take all of maybe 2 minutes to color. But I do want to tell you, I'm not a professional color artist. I love the Stampin' Blends because they help my imperfections. I don't have to do a whole lot except for drag them on top of each other. I am not a colorer. And so this is my coloring tool of choice because it covers a lot of area very quickly, so I'm kind of impatient. It helps me in that area. You probably wouldn't know that I'm impatient. I don't show it outwardly, but inwardly I do. I am. I just like the fact that they blend really easily. All right, so a little tip. This is so easy, guys. If you haven't colored before and you are like me, not a professional colorer, let me tell you, when you have lines like are in the leaves, our blends come in a light and a dark, so you get a 2-pack of the same color. These are Old Olive, this is light obviously, and this is the dark one. So when you have lines, it makes it really easy for you. You take the darker and you kind of go over the lines. These are alcohol-based markers, so it will blend. When we start coloring it in with the light color, it will do all the work. This is why I say I love them. I am not very good at it. I wouldn't call myself that, but I am good at cheating, and this helps me. All right, so now we're gonna take the light one, and there are 2 tips. I'm gonna use the brush tip, kind of drag it over. I don't care if there are spaces of white left. I think that looks pretty artistic. And if I want to blend them a little more than what I've done here, I'm just going to drag that light over the dark, and let me show you what we have. Perfection. We have to do the stem too, but isn't that great? Look at that. Easy peasy, right? All right, so I think I'm going to do the stem light too, just because we have the light in our hand, and we don't want to spend all night coloring because I don't have patience for that. All right, likewise, we're going to do the same thing with the apple. We're going to take the darker one, and there are details already. Stampin' Up! Did the work for us. So there's a little here, and then I'm just gonna follow, just randomly pick some of the lines. There's some shading there. We could even go a little bit on the shading, and then we're gonna take the lighter color. This is how I do it. Now, people who are really good at alcohol ink markers, they may actually do it a little bit different, but I don't like to spend lots of time coloring. And because of that, this is my little cheat. Do any of you use alcohol ink markers? Do you have any cheats? This is my cheat, and I think it looks good to me. I think it's fantastic, especially for a non-professional colorer. All right, so I could, if I wanted to, drag this along and blend it a little more, but I kind of like that rustic look, so we are going to call it good right there. Let's show you what we have. You see that? Good enough to take a bite out of, isn't it? Yes, Polly says she loves Stampin' Up! Blends. They're fantastic. If you haven't used them, I guarantee you'll like them. All right, so let's we're not done with the blends yet. I want to show you another little tip. We have a couple, but let's go ahead and start doing a little bit of assembly. So this is our card base. Remember, it is 4 1/4 by 11. We have scored it halfway at 5 1/2. I'm going to bring in my bone folder because I want my card to lay flat like the guys that are on the shelves in the store, because I think that our handmade cards are much better. Of course, I'm a little biased, but all right. And then we're going to take our mat that we created from the designer series paper, and we're going to line it up here. So this is how it's going to layer. We're going to line it up and adhere our designer series paper mat to the Old Olive mat. And then after we've done that, so what I'm doing is using the bottom edge to decide on placement, and I'm leaving kind of an even margin around the 3 sides. All right, so this is what we have. And then before we go any further, let's see. No, yeah, let's go ahead and add our mat. Hi, Amy. How are you? Thank you guys so much for the hearts. Thank you. We're gonna go ahead and put our mat that we've stamped, we're going to add this. And so it's going to kind of go here towards the top. So let's add that. I have my Stampin' Seal Plus, and so I'm going to tell you guys a little secret about this card, but I'm waiting until the end. It's a little resource for you that I think will be really useful in helping out with your card making. So here we have it. Amy, are you having a good week? I hope you're having a fantastic week. All right, this is going to layer on the front of our card, but before we do, we're going to go ahead and bring in that jute. Remember, we have the in colored jute. So there are all of the in colors here. There's the boho blue, the pebble path, Modi mauve, and the copper clay, and of course the wild wheat that we're going to grab out. So I'm going to tie a little bit of let's tie a bow. You guys, we're going to tie a bow on the right side of this mat, and you guys give me good juju so that we tie a nice bow without a lot of fuss. You guys ever watch fans in the stand when they're in a basketball game, when they're giving good juju and they wave like this? Yeah, you guys give me good juju. So we're just gonna tie, you know what, I think I'll tie this. Let's see, do I have enough? Oh, I don't trust that I have enough. So we'll just try to do it. Maybe I should cut it. Let's cut it. All right. You know what makes it harder too? Nails. When you have nails, tying things is not so easy. And the longer those nails are, the worse it is. And I got them cut down when I got them done last week. By the way, they're growing out already. I did cut them down. All right, that's not too bad. I didn't do too bad. Just a little bit of fussing here, and I think we'll have it. It's super curly. It's not laying the flattest, but it's all right. All right, so we have our bow on there. I don't know what to tell you about those curly ends. I'll fidget with it later. And I think I'm gonna move it down a little bit. Yeah, we're gonna have to fidget with those. Look at how curly those are. Maybe I could have steam ironed them before we tied that bow. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and adhere this to the base of our card. I think I'm gonna bring it down a little bit. So I'm just gonna kind of twist it down. It's not adhered otherwise, so I can place it wherever I want. And then we're gonna use some Stampin' Dimensionals to adhere this to the base of our card. So I'm gonna be pretty liberal because we have a lot of space here. And so I'm gonna sprinkle these all over. Let's do a couple more. Just wanna make sure that's not gonna sink too much. All right, and then I'm gonna bring in my Take Your Pick tool. If you don't use that little pokey end on your Take Your Pick tool, let me tell you, it is fantastic for removing the backing from your Stampin' Dimensionals. Fantastic. It has other uses, of course, but I use it quite a bit for that. It's my favorite. Oh, you know what? We're gonna use the little spatula. So I'm gonna go ahead and turn it around. Did you see that? There's a spatula on the other side of that. And we're gonna use that spatula in a minute. Once again, because of my nails. All right, so let's put our mat right down on our card front. Oh, it's cute. Cute, cute, cute. I do need to play around with the bow a little bit, but so far I'm loving it. Isn't this nice and fall? Thank you guys. Thank you so much for the hearts. All right, so let's put some finishing touches on it. Now remember, I told you I had a couple of tips for you. So we're gonna stamp our sentiment on the 3/4 of an inch. Let's go ahead and adhere this piece to the inside. So this is our inside layer, so that when you stamp whatever it is or write whatever it is on the inside, you have a nice white mat to do so on. So we'll do that. And I am one that likes to stamp my sentiment later. Do you guys stamp your sentiments later, or do you stamp them before you add your mat on the inside? By the way, if you are a person that thinks that you would want to stamp a sentiment on the inside at the time you're making your card, I would recommend doing it before you adhere it, because that way if you make a boo-boo, yeah. Oh, you're right, Nympha. This is a great teacher card, isn't it? And back to school pretty soon, so that's a great, yes, that's a great idea. It's a good back to, or a good teacher card, and we have back to school coming. All right, so let's go ahead and get our sentiment stamped. We are using the greatest gift is a good friend, so it's this one, and we're gonna split it in 2 pieces. We're gonna stamp part of the sentiment on one of the mats and part of the sentiment on the other. And the way that we're going to do that, and not make a mess with it, is we're going to use here we go. We're going to use sticky notes. Oh, Julie, yes, Julie and I are alike. We're a stamp later. I like to stamp later. I like to stamp when I have a need for a card. I can pick one out, and it gives me more versatility, more liberty for what to choose in a given occasion. Something that I might have had one thing in mind for, I can actually use for something else in a pinch. So that's the reason that I stamp later. So yes, thank you for the hearts. So now remember I said we're gonna split the sentiment in 2. Whoa, I got a little close. Did I hit you on the eyeball with that? I got a little close to the camera. I was excited. All right. So the sentiment says the greatest gift is a good friend. So we are going to put the greatest gift on one mat, and then is a good friend on the other mat. The way that we're going to achieve that is by using a sticky note to cover the area that we don't want ink on. So now we know that we want the greatest gift. And so I'm going to go right up to the T on the gift with the sticky note, and I'm going to kind of fold it around my block. I'll still hold it, and then we're going to ink up the first part of it, and I don't have to worry about getting ink on the other part of it because we've covered it with a sticky note, and we can use the same sticky note for the other part. So we have ink only where we want it, and we're going to grab one of our mats right in the center. So you're going to be centering only the words that we're using, the greatest gift, and we're going to put that right in the center. And don't worry, there's plenty of room to cut it down if you don't get it right in the center. In fact, I might cut it down anyways. I'm not quite sure if I want to, but I might. All right, and then we're just going to take a diaper wipe and clean this off. And we're going to repeat using the other portion of the stamp. So I'm going to use that same sticky note that we used. And this time I'm going to cover the greatest gift because we've already done that. And let's turn it around. I'll try to be careful and not get ink on my fingers. And we're just going to cover the greatest gift because we don't want that part. And we'll bring our black memento in and we'll just ink the other part. And then we'll take our sticky note away, and I'm gonna throw it away now because I don't trust myself not to make a mess with it. Is a good friend is what it says. I'm gonna kind of center that and stamp it right down. And then look what we have. We have our sentiment on 2 different mats. Let me bring that up so you can see. There we go. Oh gosh, I'm poking your eye out with that again, aren't I? There we go. There we go in the center. All right, so we're gonna put these on with dimensionals, and I kind of like them going a little willy-nilly. And like I said, I think I'm gonna take my scissors and cut this down just a little bit. And you know, let's cut it at an angle. Let's do that because I like to do that sometimes. Yeah, it makes it a little more interesting. Yeah, we're gonna cut this down too. Let's see. We need to cut, I want to cut them in the same direction, or at least I think so. We'll see. We'll see what we do. All right. Greatest gift is a good friend. So how do I want to adhere these? We have to go over. No, we don't have to go over. We could put them under the ribbon. Do we want to put them under the ribbon? Yeah, I think it's a little easier. Let's put them under the ribbon. All right, so I'm going to use my Stampin' Seal Plus, and we're just going to adhere our sentiments. I'm going to go right over the seam of the mat that we stamped on and kind of in the center, and then I want to offset the other. I could go either direction, but we're going to go to the left of it. Add a little here. All right, I think that's okay. Okay, so we are mostly finished. We're just going to add a little embellishment. And remember, I said I was going to show another tip. Let's see. I'm going to use the Stampin' Blends. And we are going to use, let's see, we're going to use, I have my bling box. Do you see this? And I actually have a bling box that has bling that has retired. This has some retiring bling in it too. But let's look through the bling box because I want basic rhinestones. I thought I had a fresh pack. Well, I absolutely do, but apparently I didn't stick it in there. So let's grab, we have a partial pack here. And these are the rhinestone basic jewels. And I'm going to bring in my Stampin' Blend markers, and we're going to color these right in. So the fantastic thing about this is that you can make your jewels whatever color you want to match your project. So I'm going to do a couple. I'm going to pick the darker colors because remember how I told you I was a girl that liked deep color? And I'm just going to color. Let's color a couple. I have one from earlier. I'll do 4 of them. Let's do 5 because I'm not sure how many I want to use. And then let's do a couple with the Granny Apple Green too. I'm sorry, this is Old Olive. I keep wanting to call it Granny Apple Green because we have that apple. So 5 and 5. Okay. Look what we've done. You see that? We have made our rhinestones match our project, and I'm going to use that spatula that I talked about because I'm going to pick these up. So what do you say? Do you say that we use the Old Olive or do we use the Sweet Sorbet? I don't know. We have, I don't know, maybe I like the fact that the apple is the only thing there. Thank you, Julie. Thank you so much. I think it's super cute. It's very rustic. It's very fall. I like it. And I think I'm going to use the Granny Apple. All right, there I am again. I want to call it Granny Apple Green. It is not. It is Old Olive. But I'm liking the idea that the apple is the only red thing on the card. Let's see. I like to use jewels in uneven numbers. So I usually do 3 or 5. That's why I colored 5 of each. And why don't we just use all 5? I don't know where we're going to put them. I'm just going to put them down someplace. I don't know. We'll use all 5. We'll use all 5 because I made all 5. Ordinarily, I would probably use just the 3. Let's see, where can we put it? Boy, this is so blinged out. Let's just make it interesting. I'll put it right there in the center. Okay, but you'll get an idea of how it looks there. Can you see? It's still sparkly. It's hard to see on the camera, but they're Old Olive. They match perfectly and they're still sparkly. Thank you. So there you have it, a finished card that is fall ready and super, super cute. It looks so much cuter in person. I can't tell you guys. And what I wanted to tell you, the secret about this card is, thank you, Old Olive. Thank you, Polly. Oh, Julie, I was late. You said red. I was going to do red, and that's why I colored them first, but the more I looked at it, I kind of liked the idea that the apple was the only red. And then Polly said Old Olive. You guys are great. Thanks for playing along. Now, what I wanted to reveal to you, that was the secret, is something that you may or may not know. This card that we created tonight is what is called a case. CASE is an acronym. C-A-S-E. It means copy and share everything. This card was a case from our annual catalog. Let me show you. It's not exact, but it's pretty darn close. You see the inspiration? So use your catalog. If you have one, it is a fantastic resource. You see that? I changed it up a little bit, so it's still mine. However, there's the inspiration. So that's my secret. All right, you guys. Let's go ahead and turn up so we can say goodnight. Don't forget about our cute little card. If you want to recreate this card, use your catalog for inspiration, or you can come back here for dimensions. Mine is a little bit different. I think we have an extra layer, and then I did the mats differently, so it's a little different. So the video will be here on my Facebook page. It will also, before the weekend's out, I'll get it uploaded to YouTube. There are links in the description above for YouTube, to join my mailing list. So there will be some information up there for you as well. Let's talk quickly about what we used, and we'll say goodnight. We used the Apple Harvest stamp set. All stamps, inks, and paper, you guys. Thank you so much for the thumbs up and the hearts. Some inspiration from the catalog, a little bit of embellishment, and some jute twine and rhinestones, and use the jute. So simple, simple, simple. All right, let's turn up so we can say goodnight. Thank you guys so much for being here. You are amazing. I am beyond blessed to have you be inspired by me and to create with me. I don't take it for granted when you guys show up. My heart does pitter patters. I come because I have a love of creativity and a love of sharing it, and I also have a love of Stampin' Up! Products and and the coordination. It's the thing that drew me to them. Everything is matchy-matchy, and I am a matchy-matchy kind of girl, and I don't have to think about it, and I don't have to walk up and down the aisles of the store trying to match things up. So it was a game changer for me. Here, all of these years later, here I am. So thank you guys so much. I hope I've inspired you to create whatever is in your heart. Thank you so much for being here. I really, really appreciate you. I will be back with you to create next week. Same place, same time. New, different product and projects to share with you. So have a very creative weekend wherever you are in the world. Stamping and creative blessings to you, and have a fantastic weekend. I will see you soon. Bye-bye.